So you replied to a Twitter thread and got immortalized on a car? That's legit. That's pretty cool though, man, if you think about it. So both, oh yeah, yeah, Adam, yeah, because I remember seeing your name there too. Now, was only one of you with an American flag? Hmm. Oh, so you guys are not both in the same car. You're on separate ones. Oh, it's cool. That is super cool, y'all. Oh, Bravo, all lowercase. Oh, I forgot to change the setting for these lights. Every time I hit the backstretch, the lights are turning on as I get close to them. One of my buddies was going to join us tonight. He's practiced on the track in the car, but he texted me early this morning and said he had to change out his water heater. Busted. So I was like, there you go. I know. Really? It's a fun little car. I mean, any kind of road car like this that's not a super fast car, I mean, it's fun because I mean, you've got to really concentrate to have the speed that you want. You know. Really? Oh, this is the car that I wound up practically destroying in the LA canyons. When I didn't see the stop sign. So our last race was with the Formula One, right? And so my buddy that was going to race tonight and couldn't make it, he's new to PC racing. He's been console for a long time, and he struggles with using a PC. I mean, he's not bad, but he struggles, and so I've had to remotely connect to him in order to show him how to use Content Manager and just some basic things. And where was I going with this? Oh, so after the F1 race, and he had some personal things he was taking care of, so I got him the Formula One car, the same one that we raced last time, and we took it out on my personal server, and we were racing it on Road Atlanta, which I've learned to love the Formula One car. It's amazing. But obviously racing it on a Road Atlanta, with a track that I know like the back of my hand, is much better than Silverstone that I don't know, right? So we were having a grand time, just running lap after lap after lap, and you know, race after race, just you know, running neck and neck, having a great time, and then the inevitable happened. He got a little close in a corner, and his front tire hit my rear tire, and we both went nuts. It was quite, and it was at the bottom of the S's. We were going into the last turn of the S's, and it was a very violent wreck, probably the most violent wreck I've seen. And my car went airborne with 3 spins. It was quite violent. Amazing. It was, yeah. I did. I actually went back. I wasn't streaming or anything at the time, but I actually went back and the replay had saved, and so I streamed it or recorded it from there and got it. So I do have a copy of it. I'll have to show you guys the link. It was it actually is on there. That's how I shared it with him. So I'll send you guys a link, because it was, yeah. I'd never had that big of a crash at one time. This used to be my, oh, that's funny. This was my go-to when we had company and people would want to race. In my setup, I would put I think when I only had Gran Turismo, I would set up this track on the SLS AMG GT, and the slower drivers could get a minute 10, but my younger son and I, Alex and I, we could hit 55, 56 seconds in the car on this track, just lap after lap. And it was actually a lot of fun, because most folks, because I had this thing set up on my dining room, which never used a dining room as a dining room, but it's literally as soon as you come in the front door and you see it, it's to your left. And my people who come over go, "Oh my gosh, I want to try it." And so we had some family over, and we all had a good time with it. But it's quite the fun track. One thing I did in the few laps that I've done here in this car, the last turn, the sweeper, I really struggled with, because if you go into it too hot, the car is going to get sideways. Okay, well, yeah, touche, you got it. I can't imagine this car with like 300 horses. Drift slicks. It would be quite fun. got a 300 horsepower MX-5? Wow. It's funny. What? That's impressive. Okay, my question is, why did Jan sell it to him, though? Oh, yeah, true. Just was watching, what was that? Maybe it was the... I watched a video about Jan not too long ago. He was like they were interviewing his parents and blah blah blah, and oh, it's that Le Mans series on Amazon. Yeah, it's a really cool series, and he's just a down-to-earth kid. And I mean, and of course, in my mind, he's still a kid, but because he still has a very young mentality about himself, you know? Yep. Run around the city before going to the race. He wasn't even driving, was he? in that shot, I think it was somebody else driving. I think he was a passenger. Can you imagine being a race car driver? And yeah, and critiquing every turn. I mean, you suck at that corner, dude. Come on. We have a sideways. I'd like to see that. Wasn't there a endurance race at this track in GT5? I want to say it was a 4-hour race in this car. See that? That's cool. My wife and I, in one of our vehicles, we have a little rubber duck. Just a little bitty duck that sits on the dashboard, and we kind of make fun of each other because, like, if we hit the brakes too hard or take a corner too hard, that rubber duck goes flying. Or if we do something and the rubber duck stays still, we know we've done good. So that's kind of our marker. We laugh at it all the time. If the rubber duck hits the windshield, we're like, "Yep, it's rough." It's like a little 2-inch duck. We were driving through Knoxville one time and stopped for gas, and they had all these little ducks sitting out. And what it was there's a river that runs through Knoxville, and they were doing some charity event, and you bought a duck. So you basically bought 2 ducks. You got to keep one duck, and the other duck got released with the thousands of other ducks down the river. Yeah, so it was really cool. So that duck literally has never left that vehicle. And one time, I thought my granddaughter had lost it, but it just got hidden or stuck somewhere in the vehicle. But we found it, and it was like, oh my gosh, our duck. Duck's important. We've probably been there for 7 or 8 years, I guess. Switched my steering wheel for this race because it just didn't feel right driving this car in a GT rim. It felt weird. I've got a round rim. It's the BMW Fanatic rim. Or it didn't happen. I have a rig, and I'll have the same rig forever, I'm sure, but I'm always interested in seeing other rigs and see what it's like. I have a VRC 1000. It's mine. Nice. Shoot, mine took hours. Yeah, mine was delivered on a truck. Came on a pallet in a large box. It's made in Missouri, somewhere like Springfield or something. There's this company, they make like custom grills and stuff like that for trucks, and all of them got into sim racing, and so one of them they all got together and designed the rig that they would all want. And they decided to build it and market it. Well, the company, I don't remember what the company's called, but if you just type in VRC 1000, you'll see it. What's cool is when when Fanatic brought out the much better all metal shifter and got away from that plastic crap, they made another mount for it. And I'll have to show pictures of mine up there, but they also have a cup holder that mounts underneath their shifter. I love it. The only thing I wish it had, and this is just me and my personality, I would love to have more of a racing style seat. It's a nice car seat, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's not from an actual car, but it's an actual bucket seat that you could mount into a car. I don't remember it's whatever generic piece that they offer with it. And it's not Sparco, but it's a Smarco knockoff. Like, it doesn't have the spot for a 5-point harness on it. Mow down. Yep, 787. You're right. He raced the first two with us. The Formula at, can't remember, and then the Spa, the 787. It was a few moons ago. I need to get him. I don't know if he's in the Discord or not. Probably not. See Derber's voice. All right, so I'll send him a link. Sure, region. Yeah, me too. I mean, I like to mix it up a little bit. I think some of the long ones are fun, but mixing up is good. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh. Oh wow, Zero got me in the what? Next to last lap. Yeah. Nice. I never did. I had a 108 in practice, but I never got to a 108 tonight in quali. But no big deal. Well, yeah, because it's the first time ever that I put laps down that wasn't that I was within a second of you. It was like less than a second, and it's never happened. Not in the history of the U.S. server. Somebody's back there honking their horn. If I knew what button was that on my wheel, I would go for it, but... Oh wow, the first 3 cars are all white. Your left side 0. Reinstalled that back in. I don't know why. Really? Is that what it is? Yeah. I tried on myself and I was like, no. It's kind of like my Siri voice. It's got to be the female. I don't like the dude talking to me. It just feels weird. Feels like the night we drove the transit vans. These low-powered. Yes, true. We actually have handling. You are so correct. It's funny to watch the cars. You can see the whole body swaying with every hard turn. Yep. Whoa. That Adam, I almost lost it. I wrecked there 3 times during practice. That same spot. Get on the gas just a little too quick. It's like it just unsettles the car, you know? Start rocking this thing like hours on end. That's it becomes kind of crazy because you go through the laps so quick and you kind of lose your almost like lose your train of thought because it's like, wait a minute, I was just here. Oh my gosh. thing that I used to enjoy doing with, at least with Gran Turismo, your part of the HUD, you had your previous 2 or 3 lap times, and it also had your fastest lap right there on the screen. So whenever I would race, I would always, even if it was just barely, I would try to beat last lap's time. So that kind of kept me into the long races. And if I could, at least kind of continually make progress, even if it was just a couple ticks, I always knew I was doing something well. Yep. And on a short track like this, you almost have to, if you make a mistake and you have a bad lap, it takes another 2 laps to get back up there. Especially if it's anywhere near the start finish line, because it takes that into account. Slows you down in that area. Adam, are you and Mo back there fighting it out? I don't think he's put any laps on this system setup. I know he's itching to race though, because he just bought one of the new Formula steering wheels. Yeah. In fact, he sold his BMW one, his McLaren one, on some racing forum, and then he had one of the Club Sport Formula somethings. I think maybe it's the carbon. They made a carbon and aluminum that looked identical. He sold that one to me, and then bought him this. It's a wheel that it'll work with all 3 platforms. I know he's been itching to race. I've always wanted one of those. What pedals you got now? I'm not familiar with what those are. No, pedals go a long way in can't speak to the Thrustmasters, dude, but I tell you, I've had all 3 revisions of the Club Sport pedals, 1, 2, and 3, and the 3s are phenomenal, especially the way they've nailed down the whole dampering system, and even the clutch pedal feels like a clutch pedal when you hit it. It's only what? Oh, I was thinking they were 250, but no, they're 300, right? I'm thinking they were 300. At least that's what I paid for mine, I thought. So I have 2 sets of them. I'm glad I do, because I completely bricked one about a year and a half ago. So I've got 2 racing setups, one downstairs that I've had for years, and when I upgrade, I typically just take the old stuff and stick it down there. And then for whatever reason, I went ahead and just got another pedal set for down there with the 3s, because I had a buyer for my 2s. And one night I decided, I was just dinking around, and I noticed that there was a firmware update for these pedals. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll knock this out. And because I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to, like, I don't want anything extra on my racing rig except racing stuff. And I didn't want to, like, install the firmware stuff and jack it up and risk messing up my racing setup. So I was like, I'll just do it with my Mac. Oh, they don't have Mac option. Okay, well, I've got a virtual machine on my Mac. I'll do it with that. Not a problem. Well, I don't know if you know anything about virtual machines, but when you connect to them, especially with a USB peripheral, it connects to the host first before it connects to the virtual machine. So during the flashing process of my pedals, it didn't automatically quick enough reconnect to my USB port, because it has to erase, then it reboots the pedals, puts them back in bootloader mode, and then flashes the new on there, right? Well, yeah. So because of that, it literally bricked my pedals. Well, I couldn't for a while, but I contacted Fanatic, and they sent me a new PCB. And so I basically took the PCB is on. You take the foot plate, you take that off with 3 screws, and your PCB is mounted underneath on a little small plate. I basically took that little plate off, unplugged everything, and changed out the PCB, and then put it all back in and tossed the old one. But I decided then that I would never do any kind of major work in that regard using a virtual machine, because you don't have direct access to the hardware immediately like you do with regular piece. So now I have an old, my son's using it now, but I keep an old Dell laptop around just for things of that nature. Yep. Well, because I like to test it first before I actually set things up. So, like the new drivers for my wheel, I'll unplug the wheel from my racing setup. I'll install the new drivers and stuff and test them and the firmware on the laptop before I put it on my regular racing rig, because that way, if there's any kind of issues or bugs, I'm not stuck with it, you know? also used the laptop to. I figured out Fanatic changed their drivers at one point in time and didn't tell nobody. So when I first started racing on PlayStation 4, I was able to use my Club Sport V2 wheel, only because I had an old driver. So these Fanatics, when you put them, they have a compatibility mode, and when you put it in compatibility mode, the PC will see it as an old style Logitech wheel. That a wheel that actually has, I don't remember what model it is, but it's a wheel that had paddle shifters and had a gated option, blah blah blah. And so I had a setup to where the wheel was actually connected to this old laptop, and then the old laptop was connected to my PC, and it allowed it to emulate, and the system thought I had a G25. Well, I updated the firmware one time on my wheel, and it stopped working. And basically the wheel suddenly thought that it was it didn't know what to think. The Logitech software would not recognize the wheel as anything. It was just unrecognized device. So fortunately, I always keep all the Fanatic firmware / driver packs. So so I was able to. I went backwards because I didn't remember even what version I had. So I started stepping backwards. Found that version like 2.66 or whatever it was the last version. It's the most updated version that would still work. Well, I think I know why they did it. So also at one point in time I had the steering wheel that was just like a basic wheel, but you would connect it to your Club Sports, and it would work on an Xbox One. It made your wheel Xbox compatible without having the hub. And when that wheel was released, it said plainly on their website that it would work with the Club Sport V1, because I had a V1, and then it would connect to your Xbox. Well, and it worked for me, but not, a year and a half afterwards, that compatibility was gone. And so when I sold my V1, I sold it, as a set, and the guy was like, wait, it says it doesn't work on the website. And I'm like, what? So again, I looked at the firmware that I had on the wheel and realized it was the same firmware that was on my V2. And so I played around with it again on that wheel, and sure enough, that same driver / firmware made that wheel not compatible. So I have a YouTube video that I made just to show this guy that this wheel, base and wheel would in fact work with the Xbox, so that he would buy it. And that YouTube video has gotten a ton of views and a ton of comments on it, of people having the same problem, going, why is this working when it says it's not working? How are you getting this to work? And so yeah. Zero, me and you have been going at it. I know, right? Oh! He put me in the wall! He put me in the wall! I came around him and he put me in the wall! He pulled it. He pulled an Earnhardt. Oh, and you didn't have to, dude. You didn't have to wait for me. So, okay, do you guys follow NASCAR at all? Okay, I don't either because I don't like NASCAR, but I used to as a kid. I grew up with my dad watching it, and when Earnhardt was still racing and Waltrip was still racing, there was a race in Bristol. Waltrip got something happened. He was nearly a lap down. Earnhardt was leading, but somehow Waltrip made a change on his car and was like a hot dog, and he was coming up hard on Earnhardt, and on the backstretch he literally went to pass Earnhardt, and he obviously had the faster car, and it was late in the race. Earnhardt put him in the wall. It wrecked them both. And so my dad, dude, he did not like Dale Earnhardt. He couldn't stand him, and oh my gosh, he cussed so much that Sunday watching that race. It was hysterical. Mm-hmm. Really? Really? Oh, how funny. Oh, it was a 1992 Winston 500. Earnhardt plays with a pace car. Oh, that's a oh my gosh, that's awesome. Huh. Oh, I don't either, man. I just know that. Nice. It wouldn't matter. We've seen you come back from 2 laps down. Dude, Chuck's already passed me in the first corner. You just use pecker on a string. Yeah, I think Mo just tapped you, and he got wide, nearly lost it. I was so close to your rear end, Adam. Really, I didn't touch you, but I was like way up on you. Whoop, 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 whoop. There he goes. Good save. Careful passing him, Chuck. I'm on your left side, Adam. Left side. Oh yeah, the crew chief's not there to tell me you're clear. So have all of you guys raced ACC? So that radar thing that they've got, does that thing happen to be in as an option for Assetto Corsa? Oh my gosh, that mod is amazing. I know exactly where every car is, and honestly, like the last time I raced, I'd had a rough day at work, and I just came in and just raced, and I was kind of tired, and so I wasn't really at my best, and I wasn't in the best mood, and again, I wasn't at my best, and so every time the second place car was getting close to me, you know, I would know it. I'd know when he's close, because the car I was driving didn't have a rear view mirror. I mean, it really saved my skin. So if it was a mod in this game, and I've noticed with the whole crew chief thing that's built into ACC, I almost wonder if they didn't take it upon themselves to put that stuff, all these cool mods that we have for AC, if they didn't decide, oh, you know what, we should add this in the new version. Is it really? Oh, wow. Go by the radar, and I kind of ignore the whole, well, if it tells me it's clear, it's clear. At least I've noticed, but I haven't did any online races yet. I'm literally just working myself through the career mode, because a lot of the tracks I'm just not familiar with, and quite honestly, I mean, I don't anymore. I don't race with anybody outside of you guys, and since we don't have a US server, I mean, I can't make the UK races. Yeah, well, because you have to rent it. So like, oh crap, CJ pays for the UK AC server. I pay for the US AC server, and yeah, and then I'm not sure. I think it's Alpha that pays for the ACC UK server. The plan is once It's like $650 a month. Oh, it's not. Yeah. Well, so here's the bigger problem in ACC. The server, how you run it. I mean, Pasha would have to get really involved because, I mean, there are three. I think it's Alpha and two other guys that handle the ACC server because it's so technical. It's super technical compared to this because it doesn't. It's just different. I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like, so, you know, like going from this game to that one is kind of like going from GT6 to GT Sport as far as the graphics and how detailed it is. Well, it's the same way under the hood. How you set the server up, it's not GUI. Like, this is all just the server is all set up kind of configured on the end, on the hosting, and then I basically provided a config file. Well, the config file I can either do by hand. It's just a text file is all it is, with the parameters set specifically, or I can use a GUI application that's built into the game to configure it and upload that configuration via FTP. Very simple, I've been doing, I mean, that's what I do for a living as far as infrastructure, so it's really no different. But ACC is a whole different ballgame. It's JSON files and I mean, it's so much more complicated. That's the reason I haven't stood a personal one up, because I looked at it and I was like, nope. You know, it would take me forever to learn it, and it would, you know, I would probably spend more time learning it than I would getting to drive it. So Alpha and the two guys that run that one, they know, I guess maybe they're programmers, maybe they know that system. I don't know what language it is, but you follow? The only alternative would be if they came up with some sort of methodology or some sort of GUI application that would easily reset, or that I can control, and we could just use it. But then we're you know, we have latency issues. Would that be a problem? I don't know. No. Yeah, it's dude, I mean, the learning curve to set up an AC server, I mean, I had it learned and figured out in a couple hours just by looking at a couple of tutorials and downloading the proper software. And at one point in time, I even had my personal server set up to where it would auto cycle the track. Like, I would set up the tracks that I wanted it to cycle with, and it would literally auto cycle. The only downside, you know, is that unlike a Forza or Gran Turismo hopper system, AC balances everybody out every time it cycles the track, because it's just not designed to operate in any other fashion. So, and again, an hour, learning curve an hour, got it, down pat, easy. But not ACC. It's a task. So I don't, you know, would they take on something like that? I don't know. Yeah. So, and as far as the payment goes, the plan is once the Chris Hayes Sim Racing brand becomes, I don't know at what point it gets there, but if we had the numbers, like if we were getting at least a room, you know, 50 to 60% full, and Chris got to the point where the monetary side was well, he's planning on paying for both servers. But right now, both the US and the UK servers are just not bringing in the numbers to make it worth paying. And they've asked me 2 or 3 times, you know, are you still cool with paying and hosting? Because they don't, their thought process is they hate that we have so little and that it's on my dime. I don't care. To me, it's a very, I mean, it's $650 a month, and it's something. Yeah, and I don't have to worry about bandwidth. Like, I mean, I could run it at home, but I only have 1 gig download at home. You know, my upload is like 40, so it could probably handle it, but going through this data center in the middle of the United States, in Kansas, I believe it is, it's a gig up and down, and so the bandwidth is better. I don't have to worry about maintenance. If I'm doing something in the house and I take my server down, I don't have to worry about race night. You know what I'm saying? Plus, this stat tracker, I think it's called S Tracker. I looked at setting that up on mine, but I was like, there's no way, because it required, I don't know, I'm an infrastructure, I'm on your left. I'm an infrastructure guy, not a developer or database guy. So I don't know databases. And for me it would be a steep learning curve for me to set up S Tracker on the server. Whereas it's a whopping, crap, my bad. It's a whopping $1 a month. So it's $550 for the rent the server, and it's $1 a month for the stat tracker. Well, guess what? If anything happens, I don't have to do anything. Matter of fact, when some of my passwords are compromised, I had to reach out to them and have them actually change the FTP password. Support ticket, hour later. I even told them what to set the password to in the ticket. Or no, I take that back. They set it for me. No, I didn't call anybody. I just did a support ticket to the hosting provider. They set a new password for me. It was nice and random. Came back in the ticket, not via email. So I mean, it's just the ease of operation is awesome. Now, if the guys would be up for, if they've gotten past their learning curve and they would want to config another server, I would be totally up for us getting an ACC server. Yeah, well, I think they are, because they're actually working on some really cool stuff. We've been testing a website that is tied to the ACC server, and it pulls data from it. I'm not sure what I haven't logged in for a while, but somehow it's tied. It uses APIs to tie into the Discord channel, and you have to be part of the Discord and actually to get to the website to pull data, because somehow it uses the APIs from that. It's a really cool concept they've got going on, and it's basically an easier way to pull data and possibly even to join races directly from the Discord. So I mean, they're really working on some cool stuff. I'm impressed with these guys. Oh yeah, totally. Because I mean, I just don't know. I've never gotten into programming, and it's just never been my thing. 13 years at a company, and I took care of the infrastructure, and I had another guy that was the developer. He worked with SQL, MySQL, all of those, and some HTML for the company and all this, and I just felt like he spent too much time, for me at least, it was just more time staring into the screen than all these numbers and letters. I would rather be hands-on, you know, like racking servers when they come in was always still fun to me, because it's physical. And, you know, configuring a new server, or, you know, setting up a new application, or you know, that's more. I mean, of course, I spend time staring at a screen, but that's not all I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I mean, honestly, now the company I'm with, we have all of our servers, we're 98% virtual, and all of our stuff is in a data center. I actually have enjoyed the times that the physical boxes, we've had issues, and I will go to the data center and, you know, troubleshoot, swap a RAM stick on a physical blade, and I'm like, I love it, because it's hands-on. I'm not restricted to just the software side, you know. It's going to come down to it again, bro. Oh! I almost had him earlier, and I kind of lost it because I was busy. But I almost hit you just then. I had to really get on the brakes. Are you streaming too, or recording, Pasha? Okay. Yeah, just these last, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's just been you and I neck and neck the whole time. How'd that go? There's a couple spots that I can really get to you, but you have a better exit than I do. Your exit strategy is better. Try to get Mo down in our chat channel before we get off tonight. Wow, this has been an excellent, just fantabulous two races. Sorry guys, I just had to finish with a bang. Sorry dude. My windshield is just hammered. And here comes Adam. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, oh, takes a lot. It takes a lot of patience to drive a stick. I, I noticed you were really at it up there, man. Man, I've just ran this car. I mean, I think I ran the full race twice to know exactly how much fuel I needed, and I mean, I haven't ran it in 10 days, but when I ran it because I wanted to. Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm gonna pop off chat for just real quick, and I'm gonna call my buddy and see if I can make sure he knows how to get in chat, and I'll be right back. game is this? Hot. Hot Shots. Is it? That reminds me of Hot Shots Golf. Wow. So, just got off the phone with Modown. He was glad to be back. So when I started the stream, I sent the link to him, and he had just gotten finished with water heater, just getting it set up. And so he didn't clean up anything. He just like dropped all these tools and went and washed his hands and jumped into drive with us. So he was like, are you guys still going to race? I was like, well, we're not sure yet. And but he's like, I got to go clean up the mess anyway. He's still got all his tools to put away, blah, blah, blah. So, but he'll be back with us the next time we run. And maybe even sooner. We'll if we put anything together. Yeah. So this was some seriously fun racing. Yeah, very much so. And I don't think nobody got lapped, did we? Well, that makes this even more fun and impressive, because that's not normal. So I dig it. So these slower cars and shorter tracks. So yeah, looking at the results, we got 18 laps in the first race, and then we all got 18 the second race too. So that's cool, and crashes were minimal. Most of us had 2 or 3. That was it. Yeah, I don't know if it counted that. Oh, you know what? That's a good point. I wonder if it. You would think that it would stop counting it after the session is over, once you cross the finish line, but maybe it doesn't. Wow, I did not know that. So, based on the first race, and I'll post this in a minute, the gap from first to second was only 36 seconds. And the second race was only much better. It was only 27 and a half seconds. So we obviously all of us improved that second go around, because Chuck, your fastest lap was a 107.3, then you went to a 107.1. So we all did improve. This is good. I like this. So I looked at the schedule, and so it looks like Monza is next in the F40. Wow. Is it really? I didn't even think about that. But hey, that's why I wanted you guys to pick it. Yeah, I really. Oh, I agree. And really, going forward, guys, I want us to. I really like having the track picked ahead of time. So I think what I'll want to do going forward is, maybe as we get to the end of this list, go ahead and make another list and keeping it mixed as we're doing it. So I think it's good, because then I'm not scrambling at last minute to figure stuff out. Um, see, 311, 318. See, 311 is Monza. 318 is Sebring. The next race is Bathurst, and we don't have one scheduled for the next one. Uh, I really wanted Long Beach because that next race lines right up with Long Beach, but it just didn't work because the track sucks. So it is what it is. So anyway, be thinking about what we'll want to do next. Hmm. Hmm. Well, yeah. So it should be the same as Project Cars 1, correct? Yeah. Okay. Well, if we want to do it, let me just double check with um, the staff, because if we're going to have the same, if it's just going to be us that's going to be here, theoretically we could do that. The problem comes when, if there's folks in the Discord that wants to join, it doesn't have it, and obviously we have to post it. So yeah, it does create a problem with that. So yeah, so let me talk to the guys and see what their thoughts would be before we choose that. I really like that idea. Uh, yeah, yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, true, true. Fours, yeah. I would imagine that the sunset um, would be the timing would be amazing on that track too, with it being at Long Beach. Yeah, let me talk to the guys and see. It may be one of those deals where, man, I don't know. We may have to do that ourselves, but still do something else. That is my thought, because I really don't think they're gonna. Yeah, because I don't. What I don't want to do is push somebody away from racing with us. IMSA Siri. Well, I can make it happen. I know that's for sure. It wouldn't be a problem at all. Um, so let me see if I can find the schedule real quick. I wish they had a nice little. Where's the schedule? Schedule. Ooh, yeah, yeah, yep, yeah. Well, I will. If because that's the streetlights, but that's it. They're not configured for the track. Yeah, yeah, because because it's not configured for the racetrack, it's configured for the streets, and that's where the problem arises. So yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Well, yeah. So the real race is on April the 7th. April the 18th, and our race is scheduled for 4:15, obviously on a Wednesday. So, yeah, let's play it. Let's play it and see. What we could do is, if we could figure out a night that we're all available, because obviously Wednesday is a done deal, right? So if we can figure out another night, it's kind of like make that an alternative night, right? And then let's say it's that Friday, okay? And that's going to be our alternative night because that's actually the weekend heading into the race. So once Wednesday comes, if nobody else has signed up to race, then we squash Friday and we jump on Project Cars on that Wednesday and just go ahead and run it. You see what I'm saying? So what we want to do though is we'll need to add what is Synaptic's first name? Does anybody know? I'm horrible with remembering names. Because he sometimes shows up, I don't want him to be available and then suddenly he can't race. So maybe we can find out if he has Project Cars 2, and I'm pretty sure Modown does. So as long as our normal group shows up, then sure, let's run that Wednesday, because it's not going to matter to if we're the only ones that show, it's not going to matter to the group, to the admin guys. But so let's kind of play that by ear, and we can think about. I'll look at my schedule and make sure that I don't have anything that would take me out of town on that Friday or Saturday night, and you guys do the same. And whichever day fits best, we'll make that our alternative night and go from there. April the either April the get to April here. Yeah, either the 17th to the 18th. I mean, because like Modown, for an example, Friday. I know Friday's better for him because Saturday night is he spends time with his wife. That's wife time. So, so just figure out what works with you guys, because I know you guys have families too. So I know they're used to Wednesdays, but I'm not gonna just put a date down because I want you guys to. I run my dates. I tell my wife every week, hey, don't forget this week is race night. Because